Jorge, I am so glad I got my hair did because I love a short and sassy do. Hey dolls, it's me, Wilma Fingerdoo, with the Fingerdoo review of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 15. Oh, I can't believe it. 15. Oh, I'm old. But before we get to it, I need to thank some tipper doos. T. Leafson used the YouTube thanks tab, as did Norman D. McFall and Orihara Kaoru. Thank you guys. I'm beyond grateful. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, it's the YouTube thanks tab. That heart with the dollar sign in it that's just under this window. I also want to thank my first tipper dues of 2023, my YouTube friend Martha Anastasia, and the beyond generous Elaine Alden, and as always, my tipper due boyfriend Vito. Thank you so much, dolls. You're all fabulous. I also need to thank whoever sent me this. This was on my Amazon wish list. It is a mini humidifier. It just sits right next to you at your desk. It plugs in with the UBS. This is the best thing anyone has ever sent. Well, it's not true. It is one of the best things anyone's ever sent me. If you have a dry apartment or you're working in a dry work environment, these are a fabulous solution to that problem. The only problem is I have no idea who sent this. So if you're the one who sent it to me, please leave a comment down below and let me know that it was you. Otherwise, I'll never be able to thank you from the bottom of my heart. And if you'd like to help support this channel with a tipper due or by helping me out with items off my Amazon wish list, well, those links are down below. Now, Jorge, drink me. Oh, look at this. A cheap margarita, yeah, fresca and tequila. Gin. I'm not complaining, but I wasn't expecting gin. Thank you, Jorge. You're the best. Okay, dolls, there's a lot to go over because with 16 queens all taking part in a talent show and runway, they needed a 2-hour premiere to fit it all in. And I'm not talking in the sexy way. Shut your face. Just to give you some perspective, season 1 of Drag Race only had 9 queens. I'm just saying. 16! Irene Dubois was first into the workroom and she was dressed like, well, a viral German. I'm not going to say which one, but you can get a vaccine for it just about anywhere these days. Luxe Noir was next, looking lovely in a simple jumpsuit with lightning cutaway, and right away, Irene went for Luxe's wig. Apparently, Irene wasn't convinced it was 40 inches, size queen. But it didn't stop there. Irene also called Luxe a brick, which is a great way to win friends and influence people, just saying. Ara Mayari, contender for trade of the season, was next and right away joined Irene in the We're Over Luxe Club. Hey, everyone needs a hobby. Marsha was next, rocking old school Brady Bunch Marsha post-football to the face vibes, and the other queens were either too young to get it or too cool to care. Either way, Aura was not impressed with the look. And by look, I mean lack of makeup. Anitra was third, serving lemon pinhead realness. I like this queen's sense of humor and her quick comebacks, which proved she didn't care what the other queens thought of her. So she shouldn't. Fourth was Malaysia Baby Doll Fox, who I'm sure was serving Fox in her gorgeous ensemble, but all I was getting from it was Disney's Turning Red. To intimidate the queens, Miss Fox let the children know she's also a hairstylist and makeup artist who's worked with some people. Don't trip over those names that she's dropping is all I'm saying. Princess Poppy entered the workroom in a ballerina tutu doing double duty as a painter's palette. This is a queen who's made a splash on the interwebs, but that thing she did with her ears, that didn't break the internet. Sasha Colby came in looking like a warrior, but even if she hadn't, she still would have scared the heck out of the competition for being the legend that she is. I love that she auditioned for Drag Race because she couldn't let Carrie be the most famous Colby. Get yours, mama. Seriously. And then Ornacia, a blast from the past, season 6 to be precise, walked into the workroom, but instead of being on Vivacious's head, she was on Ariana Grande's head. And there were no complaints. Marsha particularly was gagged. Just saying. As the queens were gushing over Miss Grande, like you do, Ru showed up without warning or fanfare, and the queens were gagged again. I know I was a little gagged, but then with 16 queens in the cast, it made sense that they were obviously doing a 2-tiered intro to the queens. I mean, I was already forgetting names and faces. I'm old is what I'm saying. But before Ru could get in the first mini challenge of the season, she had an announcement. This season, the cash prize for winning season 15 was $200,000. Ariana who? Exactly. Speaking of the mini challenge, the queens were revisiting the first mini challenge ever, a photo shoot while washing a car. Clearly, one of the WOW executives needed some detailing done. So, with photographer Albert Sanchez clicking away and 4 perky pit crew members, you heard me, ready to assist, it was posing time. Irene was first and went in with her mouth open. Not surprised. Lux seemed surprised that there was water involved, but then she's too young to remember the season 1 photo shoot. That was 15 years ago. She was 7. Aura Mayari did well. Marsha got her turtleneck wet, and by that, I mean the purple one she was wearing. Keep it clean, dolls. Anitra was smart not to wear a wig because if her eyelashes didn't fare well, a wig wouldn't have done much better, I'm just saying. Malaysia was next, and I, for one, was surprised that her hair held up. Just saying. Princess Poppy got soaked, and that was just looking at the pit crew. I know I'm dripping. Sasha didn't seem too happy about getting wet, but she still served one of the fiercest photos of the bunch. After the queens de-dragged, Princess Poppy noticed that Marsha didn't look any different out of drag. Of course she didn't. You'd actually have to wear makeup for that to happen. The last thing Lux took off was her wig. Clearly, she was afraid that Irene would try to measure it. But in Lux's defense, it was probably a good thing that nobody had a tape measure. What are they, Teamsters? Speaking of, Irene was standing out as the mean girl. No one was impressed with what she tried to call her sense of humor, no matter how she tried to spin it. Thankfully, Ru interrupted the debate by returning to announce that the winner of the mini challenge and $2,500 was Irene. That did nothing to quell her reputation with the other queens, I'm just saying. But they were given no time to stew because right away it was maxi challenge time. The queens would be taking part in the one-night-only Talent Extravaganza, and that wasn't all. There was a big opening number that the queens had to all take part in, and they had to choreograph it themselves. Fun. As expected, there were too many Bob Fosse's in the group, but because Marsha is an actual Broadway queen, the others were happy for her to take the reins. Well, everyone but Aura. She thought she knew better, and no one put up a fight with her either. Cowards. While all this was going on, production reset the workroom so they could do it all again with the final 8 queens. Selena Estides was first of the second round, and even in an empty workroom, she was too loud for colored TV, if you ask me. Amethyst was next, looking like a holographic raver. Jax followed her dressed like a cheerleader, which is good, because she actually is. Lucy DeLuca was next with her big old man hands. I just love the acid wash denim. Just me? Both being from Connecticut, she and Amethyst already knew each other. Not sure if that was a good thing. Mistress Isabel Brooks was next. I already love this queen, even though the other queen seemed to hate her shoes. But I thought she was smart. No use twisting an ankle on the first day in 6-inch heels, I'm just saying. Robin Fierce was next, looking nummy in neutrals. That makes 3 Connecticut queens in the second group. Apparently, there's already history between her and Amethyst. Nothing definitive, but there was definitely innuendo. And being in an endo probably had something to do with it. Just saying. Speaking of innuendo, Mistress Isabel read Robin Fierce for her duct tape showing through her wig. I thought she was just sweaty. To save time, Sugar and Spice entered together. Amethyst was threatened because they're all TikTok queens. Everyone else pretended they'd never heard of them. One thing the queens latched onto right away was that Sugar and Spice don't perform on stage. They're internet only. Although I did feel that Sugar actually seemed to be more interested in bettering herself than Spice. Cue Ornacia once again, but this time she was actually on top of old Smokey herself. Vivacious. Clearly, the round 1 girls got at the better end of that stick. Vivacious, Ariana Grande, come on. And then it was Deja Ru all over again as Ru arrived with Group 2's mini challenge, a recreation of Season 2's windy photo shoot. But this time, instead of getting blown on top of a cannon, the queens would be mounting a hog. And I'm not talking about Bruno, although I'd ride that sexy good looking into the ground. Hold on. I need a moment. Selena went first, and once she got over her disappointment over not getting to straddle one of the pit crew, she served face. Amethyst seemed distracted by her blowjob, mostly because there were leaves. Jax got rose petals blown at her, which wasn't the worst thing to get a full face of, if you ask me. Mistress Isabel got feathers in her face and Bruno on her back. Lucky. Lucy seemed less distracted by the feathers. I blame Bryce. Robin Fierce immediately regretted her lip gloss choice as she got some black cock feathers in her face. I said feathers! Sugar got snowed on, but at least she kept that wig on her head thanks to Mistress Isabel. Seriously. Spice was last, and since she didn't get her impromptu class in gluing down her wig from Mistress Isabel that her sister did, she took no chances and swapped out her wig for a shower cap, despite Ruse being unimpressed. Seriously, take the hint. As the queens de-dragged, it was established that the trade of round 2 was a toss-up between Sugar and Lucy. Clearly, Spice talks too much to be hot. Actually, both the twins were getting on everyone's nerves. Or was it just me and Amethyst? Rue returned to announce that Lucy was the mini-challenge winner, which obviously thrilled Lucy to her core. Tight, tattooed core. Maybe she is the trade. Rue also let them know about the talent show maxi challenge, including the big opening number. Meanwhile, back on stage 2, the round 1 queens were trying not to kill each other choreographing their number. But they were interrupted by Rue dropping by, and she wasn't alone. She had the round 2 queens in tow. It was high noon at the all-gay corral as the two groups sized each other up. And that's where the episode ended. Thankfully, this season 15 premiere was in 2 parts, so we didn't have to wait to see how it all turned out. Episode 2 picked up where the last one left off, with the entire cast of season 15 giving each other the side eye. Aura wasn't worried. She was still the trade of the season as far as she was concerned. One thing was clear. Everyone was over Sugar and Spice's running commentary. But there was still choreography to do, and Group 2 was not impressed with what Group 1 had done so far. One thing was clear. If there were too many cooks in the kitchen with the first 8 queens, having 16 only made it worse. And Irene's sense of humor wasn't helping anybody. Seriously. Then, suddenly, it was Elimination Day, and the queens got down to claiming spaces in the workroom and unpacking. Sugar and Spice already had a reputation for taking all day to do their makeup, so clearly the judgment train was leaving their station. Speaking of judgment, Irene was still all up in Lux's business over the length of her wig. It must be nice to be so pulled together that she doesn't need to focus on her look or the talent show. I have to say, I like the point Lux made about social media being a big part of drag these days. For a lot of those baby queens, they're too young to go to the club, so why not get a handle on their looks before they strut it out in public? Lord knows I've spent more than enough time watching Shake and Go sidestepping to the latest top 10 to last me a lifetime. Just me? One thing that was setting the social media queens apart from the working queens was Irene and Mistress constantly reading each other for filth. The twins actually thought those two hated each other, but no, that's how they show love. I wonder if Irene and Mistress are still single. One thing that was true was Sugar and Spice needed to talk less and paint more. By the time everyone else was ready to hit the stage, they were still only half painted. Of course, not being able to find their wigs didn't help either, seriously. But ready or not, it was time for the main stage. Rue looked ravishing in raspberry. Michelle was looking expensive. Ross was looking married. Congratulations, Ross! And joining them at the judges' table was a pointy-titted Ariana Grande serving Madonna wannabe realness. Seriously, if her hair had been blonde, it would have been 2007 all over again. Just saying. And then it was time for the one-night-only Talent Extravaganza. The opening number didn't suck. Actually, I was impressed. They even did that crossing walk thing and nobody slammed into anyone. Malaysia, Baby Doll, Baby Doll, Baby Doll Fox opened the show by lip-syncing to an original song that was comprised mainly of the words, "I'm Queen." She did a good job, but it wasn't anything I hadn't seen before. Spice lip-synced to an original song too. At least her song had more lyrics to it, and she was fun to watch. But why the coffin? I bet it took longer to get that coffin on stage than it did for Spice to perform that number. Bless. Lux Noir London lip synced to an original song too and danced the heck out of it. She definitely proved being a social media queen wasn't a bad thing because, well, by the time she was done, she was the front runner at that point. At least I thought so. Mistress Isabel Brooks lip synced to her own song, and her boxing theme was fun and funny, and including a shameless RuPaul chocolate bar plug. This all made Mistress the new frontrunner for me. I love chocolate. Lucy sang live, which was too bad because she totally was out of tune, bless. And as we've learned from the Vivian singing live, it limited her ability to dance while performing. Irene said it all. Singing about being loose while standing stiff wasn't the tea. That's the reason Britney lip syncs is what I'm saying. Okay, it's not the only reason. Marsha was next and did a comedy dance to Boys to Men's I'll Make Love to You to a giant photo of Ross Matthews. This queen impressed the hell out of me with her dancing skills, and because she wasn't doing yet another original lip sync song, it set her apart from the hoi polloi and made her the new frontrunner as far as I was concerned. And yes, hoi polloi was my drag queen name in high school. Robin Fierce danced it out to one of my favorite Heavy D songs, Now That We Found Love. But as much as I liked that song, I didn't think Robin was that fierce. Maybe following Marsha didn't help. Irene Dubois did her comedy tutorial about making a glass of ice water. I didn't get it. Neither did the judges, or the other queens, or the deaf and blind, let's be honest. Anitra was next with yet another lip sync to an original song. At least she could dance. And then pow! She karate chopped planks of wood with her hands and feet. Well, I was scared of her by the end of that number. I was also worried for Bryce, who was holding that wood. And I don't mean that in the sexy way. Sugar did basically the same thing that her sister did, except without the coffin. Like her sister, Sugar's song went a mile a minute, which made it hard to follow for me. God, I miss doing speed. Poppy was next, and she did a comedy duet with a puppet, her sister, the tumor. It was cute, what can I tell you? Selena Estidi served some red carpet realness with her original song lip sync. She's another one who danced it out, which was a relief because her song was on the boring side for me. Just right there. Amethyst lip synced to Lisa Stansfield Looking for Her Baby, and it was a hoot, even if she was wearing sneakers. But it was a little one note. We got the point in the opening number. There were no surprises, is what I'm saying, which made the rest of the number boring. Just saying. Aura Mayari, for all her big talk, did yet another dancey lip sync number, and although she looked good, her number didn't impress me. Neither did her flats. Then the legend Sasha Colby took the stage in a straitjacket, lip syncing to the Cranberries' Zombie. And then she danced it out like the pro she is. I was impressed. Jax was last, and this little pocket rocket proved size isn't everything. She did flips and spins and backflips and even jumped rope with her braids. It was impressive. As good as everyone but Irene was, the standouts for me were Marsha, Princess Poppy, and Jax. I asked my Patreoners what they thought about the talent show. 62% picked Anitra, 23% picked Marsha, and Princess Poppy and Jax tied for 8th. And then it was runway time. Category is, who is she? Again, there were 16 queens strutting it out, so I'm just going to give you the facts. Irene Dubois was serving Geiger Alien Glamazon realness with a gorgeous two-toned wig. Fingerdoo. Lux Noir London looked lovely in her lavender duster and Say Something hat. Fingerdoo for her too. Aura looked lovely in her outfit, but it didn't blow my skirt up. Certainly not as much as she was blowing her own skirt up. Still, Fingerdoo. Marsha was serving understated Chanel realness, but seriously, someone needs to tell her that makeup includes more than chapstick and mascara. Still, I gave her a Fingerdoo. Anitra got a Fingerdoo for looking expensive in her self-made jumpsuit. Malaysia also looked expensive in her white gown with fox fur stole, so she got a Fingerdoo too. Poppy was cute in her rainbow bows, but it wasn't my favorite, so I had to give her a finger down. Sorry about it. Sasha Colby was serving Queen of the Damned realness, and I was beyond impressed, so Fingerdoo for Sasha. Selena was serving denim, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I hated that hat. I know it was an upsized bucket hat, but it looked like a denim doily for me, so she got a finger don't too. Amethyst threw down some bows as well, but since I like this look way more than Princess Poppy's, I gave her a finger do. Jax's outfit was not my fave. That brown and cream tiger slash zebra print jumpsuit clashed with the colorful boots and jacket, so I had to give that a finger don't as well. Lucy LaDuca's ode to Britney Spears' stewardess look was glittered for the gods, and I was living. Finger do for Lucy. Speaking of glitter, Mistress Isabel Brooks' red rhinestone cowgirl number was delicious. Yeehaw! Which is Western talk for finger do. Robin Fierce's white runway was beautiful and included a reveal, so of course I gave her a finger do. Sugar's yellow look was just yummy enough for a finger do, and Spice's mint feathery fantasy was lovely too, so I had no problem giving her a finger do as well, though her fuzzy slit seemed to distract Rue. It distracted me too, because that was my drag queen name in high school as well. Then Rue announced that Lux Noir London, Aura Mayari, Malaysia, Baby Doll Fox, Princess Poppy, Sasha Colby, Selena S. Titties, Mistress Isabel Brooks, Robin Fierce, Sugar, and Spice were all safe, so they frigged off to the workroom. That left Irene Dubois, Marsha, Anitra, Amethyst, Jax, and Lucy LaDuca to be critiqued. Right off the hop, the judges weren't impressed with Irene's talent show, but they did like her runway. Marsha impressed the judges with her comedy and dance prowess, but she was told by Michelle to wear some makeup next time. Seriously. Anitra impressed the judges with her number and the strength of her taekwondo. Amethyst got told her number was over before it began because she revealed the baby too soon, and Michelle and Rue also thought she should pad more. Jax impressed everyone with her jump rope and physical prowess, proving that she is a cheerleader and competitive to boot. Lucy LaDuca's look on the runway was gorgeous, but no one was impressed that she sang live. Clearly, Lucy was shook by their reaction to her number. Who had Lucy DeLuca down as the first to cry? Anyone? Back in the Untucked Lounge, the Safe Queens enjoyed some bubbly and took off their heels. Collectively, they all thought Anitra had the best number. Jax was a close second. No one mentioned Marsha, but they did give the twins kudos for not sucking. Well, as much as they thought they would. The Safe Queens also gave Sugar and Spice their dues. They were expecting them not to deliver in their performances because they're media queens, and they proved them all wrong. Well done. Robin was asked about her history with Amethyst. Amethyst said, well, they dated badly, but before we could get into it, the top and bottom queens arrived. They all agreed that Marsha, Anitra, and Jax were on top. Amethyst was sure she was going into the bottom, and Lucy was still emotional over her negative critique. But it was agreed that Irene would be the other queen lip-syncing. Of course, Ariana Grande popped by to say hi and drink some bubbly, and the queens immediately forgot about the competition. Ariana was just lovely with the queens. She gushed over them as much as they gushed over her, and she gave them advice on being entertainment icons, and even let Marsha pet her ponytail. It's not as dirty as it sounds. Back on the main stage, it was announced that the winner of the first Maxi Challenge of Season 15 was Anitra, although Marsha and Jax were a close second and third. Landing in the bottom, sadly, were Irene and Amethyst, much to Lucy LaDuca's relief, I'm just going to say. The queens had to lip sync to Ariana Grande's 7 Rings. Both these queens were ready to serve it, but off the top, I thought Irene stole the show lip syncing to Ariana Grande in that Geiger-themed runway look. But there was no denying that Amethyst danced it out, and that's probably why Rue had her, Shantae, and Irene Dubois got the dreaded pork chop. Side note, I loved her exit line, I'm just going to say. So, there you go. It took us 2 episodes to get through 16 queens performing solo numbers and strutting it out on the runway. What did you think? Were you living or ready to poke your eyes out halfway through hour 2? Of the 16 queens, who impressed you? Do you think the right queens were in the bottom? Better yet, did the right queen win? Who do you think is in line to sashay next? Let me know in the comments down below, and while you're down there, give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and please check out the links in my description box for getting your own Wilma merch from my Redbubble store, leaving a tip or two, or joining the Fingerdoo family on Patreon. Dolls, I know you have several many viewing options on YouTube, and I'd like to thank you for choosing to watch me. Until next time, miss me! Mwah! Seriously. Oh my God, 2 episodes in a row. I have to say, I much prefer that. 2 episodes, back to back, get rid of a queen. I'm so sorry for Lucy DeLuca. I always call her DeLuca. Lucy LaDuca. That's the problem with singing live. Unless you stand there and belt out a ballad, you kind of look a little boring, just wandering around the stage, hitting your notes. I thought Selena Estidis would bother me more, but she didn't. I also have to say, I thought the twins were going to bother me more, but they didn't. They weren't as bad as I thought they would be. I thought Sasha Colby did well. I mean, I think a lot of people were expecting her to do better, but she didn't suck. I'm just going to say. I have to admit, I almost passed out there for a minute with Bryce and Bruno wearing those biker boots and leather bikinis. I don't know what else they had on. My eyes didn't get up that far. Not that I'm complaining.